to a very special and rather impromptu episode of Movie Night where we'll be discussing the Oscars, which are going to take place tonight, as actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, as always, with my good friend Albert Jennings. Say hello, Albert.
Hello. I couldn't think of anything else to say. Hello.
So we'll be going through we won't go through all the categories, just because it's quite late.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll wrap off what we think, what we hope is going to win, and perhaps what we think is going to win. Just generally have a bit of a discussion about it. So why don't we start with where is it? Best Director. Now the current nominees are Mel Gibson, Barry Jenkins, Kenneth Lonergan, Dennis Villeneuve, fucking goddamn it, Dennis Villeneuve, and Damien Chazelle. Just Google them if you didn't understand.
Yeah. It was about right. It's fine.
Yeah. So who do you think's gonna? First of all, who do you think's gonna win, and then we'll do who we want to win. Afterwards. So who do you think's gonna win, Albert?
Well, I'd be pretty inclined to say it would be Damien Chazelle, really. I mean, I think it's sort of it would be between Damien Chazelle and Barry Jenkins, maybe. I can't really see Mel Gibson winning it after his sort of history in Hollywood.
Yes, you're quite right.
He had a few scandals about being racist or something like that, I seem to recall. I can't exactly remember what he did, but for some reason he did something wrong, I seem to recall.
Yeah, no, quite right. Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. I think Damien Chazelle probably has the best bet. Because of, like... Although, saying that, I think... yeah, it's a toss-up between Mel Gibson and Damien Chazelle, to be honest. Yeah, I think Damien Chazelle probably is slightly more likely just because of how explosively popular La La Land has been. And I mean, I haven't actually seen any films that are like nominated, so this kind of makes this video a bit, redundant. But I think just the manner in which it's directed, La La Land, apparently is quite impressive.
Yeah.
And it's just quite.
From
back to those old musicals.
Yeah, from what I can understand, I think that sort of La La Land is a bit more about. It's a bit more about the direction, so it's a bit more about how it's made. I feel like some of the other films, like Mel Gibson's film, are a bit more about the characters and the story.
Yeah,
whereas
right,
the way that the film's been put together, in my understanding, is done in quite an inventive, different way, which I think I think he deserves a bit of credit for that, and I think he's a very good director anyway, regardless of having seen.
I have to agree with you there. So in terms of who you want to win, is that the same answer then, Damien Chazelle?
Yeah, I think he deserves it. Yeah, I think that would be a fair enough. I wouldn't be surprised actually if Barry Jenkins did win it, because I know last year that they had a lot of problems with about the Oscars not being very racially representative, shall we say?
Yes, right.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to tried to be. Not to say that he's a good director as well. I'm sure he is.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I'll get onto that in a second.
I mean, maybe that's just me being cynical, but that would be my understanding. Yeah.
They might try. Yeah, they might very well try and cover it. In terms of who I want to win it, I think I quite like. Yeah, probably Damien Chazelle actually, just because of the way it's, as you said, it's very impressive. Even if you don't necessarily like the film, they're just how much effort must have been put into the direction is just quite impressive, really.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a bit of a sort of backlash against the film actually, and I don't really see exactly why. It just looks like a sort of standard film, really. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from, like you said, about it's a film. Another film that's become increasingly popular with two white main actors.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my issue with the whole thing is that I don't think that you should just put, a black person in there just because you think
Oh
that
yeah,
they should
absolutely.
represent them. I mean, obviously I think that the best actors or actresses should be put in there, and if
Yeah.
and I remember I can't remember what year it was, but. When the guy who played Martin Luther King in Selma, I definitely thought he deserved more of a mention. I don't even know if he was nominated for that, and it was
Yeah, you're quite right.
so I definitely think that there's been sort of opportunities where black actors or actresses haven't won. But I still find it hard to believe that like somehow that there's racism in the academy that prevents black people from winning the awards. I don't think that's the case, really.
I don't know if it's such much an issue of racism now. It's more just like underrepresentation. Like there's no, like you said, there's no reason to forcibly put black actors in there, but it's just it's a difficult thing because it's like, well, if you don't put them in there, then they feel underrepresented. But if you do put them in there, then it feels, as you said, forced.
Yeah,
It's a difficult issue.
yeah,
I
yeah,
would agree with you.
yeah,
I would say it should be more based on merit.
yeah. The best people should get it. And that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The problem with acting is that it's slightly different because you
yeah.
can
Well,
cast certain people because of
it's
character.
it's always subjective as well. Yeah.
There was an article I was reading about the Oscars who's written by an actor who's played like 30. He's Arabian and he's played like 30 terrorist roles or something. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's not really acceptable, but it's it's a difficult issue. Plus,
Yeah.
I'm a white man. I don't know anything about these things.
No. Yeah.
So moving on, best actress. The nominees are Emma Stone, Isabella Huppert, Ruth Negga, Meryl Streep, and Natalie Portman. I think. Sorry, you go. You started last time. So who do you think is going to win?
Who I think would win? I would be inclined to think that it would be Emma Stone. That's my impression from all the sort of things I've read about it. Although I've heard, as a sort of outside bet, I think that Natalie Portman's in the running for it. I wanted to see that film actually. I was interested in that one, but I think I just must have missed it.
Yeah, I heard she did a very good job in that because there's been countless films on JFK, but there's been very few about Jackie Kennedy herself. So that's quite an interesting take on things.
And with
I
those.
would have to. Portman has a good shot at it. Emma Stone too. I think Natalie Portman's. I mean, it's a difficult one. I think Natalie Portman slightly more has a better chance because the film is so centered around her.
That's what I think about with those biopic things, that they're very much like focused on one person. There's quite a lot of those similar films where like one actor is doing like almost it's in like practically every scene, and I think that they definitely deserve credit for that.
Exactly. I think Natalie Portman's probably going to win. In terms of who I want to win, I would say Ruth Negga actually, because well, besides the fact that Loving is one of the few films on this list that I've actually seen, I think it would be nice to have a kind of bit more of a fresh face. She's obviously she's not unfamous, but
Yeah.
she is much less known than a lot of the other actresses on this list, and she did an amazing job in that film. So
Yeah.
I think it would be nice to have a change for once, and just as you said, based on merit rather than how famous. Who would you like to win it? Do you have any preference?
I would agree with you. It'd be nice to have somebody unknown. I might be inclined for who I want. I might say Natalie Portman, just because I think that biopics are some of the hardest films to sort of do, because you have less opportunity for making the character your own, almost, because you sort of have to pretend to be that person rather than just creating the character as you see it. So I think that makes it quite hard. I think I'd say I'd like her to win, but I have a feeling that Emma Stone's going to win.
Yeah, probably.
I think that'll be that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I'd be happy with either Ruth Negga or Natalie Portman, really. If I had to choose. So best actor, the nominees are Andrew Garfield, Ryan Gosling, Denzel Washington, and Viggo Mortensen. So we'll start off again. Who do you think's going to win?
I think that this is one of the sort of the more difficult categories as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
I'd be inclined to go for Denzel Washington. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's had I don't know whether he's won. He said he won for Training Day apparently in 2002, and best supporting actor in 1990 for Glory.
Yeah. Sorry, you go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So I think that it wouldn't surprise me if he'd won. I think that would be fair enough.
Yes, you're quite right. I think the La La Land or actors from La La Land are going to win at least a few. But Fences has been really popular as well, and as I said, it focuses a lot more on those characters, whereas La La Land is a bit more about the spectacle.
Yeah.
Or the direction. So I think if I had to put money on it, I think Denzel Washington would win. Andrew Garfield, Hacksaw Ridge has also been very popular, and that's also a lot more about the characters and a lot more about their kind of characterization. So I think this is one of the few categories La La Land might not win. But yeah, I think, and also I think that's who I prefer to win as well. Yeah, Denzel Washington, I think I would prefer to win.
Yeah.
Do you have any preferences on who you think would win? Who do you want to win?
Yeah, I'd be happy to see Denzel Washington win as well. I think that Casey Affleck could be in with a shout as well. I've heard that he's definitely. I think it's sort of almost between him and Denzel Washington. I've always quite liked Andrew Garfield as well. He was in an episode of Doctor Who, I believe, many years ago, when he was just a young actor finding his feet. So he's always yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good shot actually. Andrew Garfield probably has quite a good shot, and also I think he deserves it.
But I feel maybe he might go on and do some sort of other things. Maybe he might. So I could see him winning it one day, but maybe just not this year.
Yeah, you're quite right. He seems like one of those. I mean, he's not that young, but he seems like one of those people that's like hasn't really not found their feet, but like hasn't really gone all the places they could have gone. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
The ground for him. So the big one is the best picture. There's quite a few of these. The nominees are La La Land, Arrival, Lion, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, Moonlight, Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea, and Fences. Now, the most obvious choice really is La La Land. I think, to be honest. I don't know if you agree with that.
I would definitely agree. Yes, and I say that links to. I think that's because of what we said before, just about the fact that it is a spectacle film. I think that's why it's got a better chance of winning the director and picture categories because it is an entire film rather than about the individual performances.
Yeah, it's a very kind of. I don't want to go too critical on La La Land just because I haven't seen it and it wouldn't be fair, but it seems like a very typical, like easily digestible Hollywood film, which is a shame because I really respected The Revenant, which was like kind of last year, which kind of had its own identity and tried a lot of new things. Whereas La La Land seems not that it's like unimpressive or anything, but it just kind of falls into that Hollywood category of like it's not really pushing any new ground in terms of social commentary or anything. Not that every film has to do that.
Yeah. No, I know what you
I don't
mean.
know. I feel like the Oscars, and that goes on to, I guess, what I prefer to win, which would be Moonlight, which is interesting because, as we were saying earlier, I don't think that a film should get notoriety just because it features ethnic minorities or anything like that. But I just think fundamentally, Moonlight is something we really haven't seen before, like at all. It's a very original premise, very just well-made film. Apparently, I haven't actually seen it, but I'm going off of like the premise mostly. It's just a bit more original. I think the Oscars are designed for, or should be awarded to those that try to be a bit more original. You know?
Yeah. I know what you mean there. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I know. I was just.
So what do you think?
I was just agreeing. I think La La Land probably will win, and I wouldn't be too sad to see that. I agree with what you say about something being original, but I think that the Oscars, you can never. That's why they're difficult to predict. Is that one year the big sort of blockbuster film can win, and then another year you can just be surprised and a completely different film will win. So
Yeah, you're quite right.
it's difficult to say for that respect, but I'd be quite convinced in saying I think it's going to win La La Land. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. Although, going back to what you said earlier, I think they're becoming a bit more conscious now about their PR, and I think they're becoming a bit more conscious of that, of the issue people have with, you know. There's a lot of basis for the argument, really. When was the last time a black actor won Best Actor or Best Actress?
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Well, it said Denzel Washington had won it at one point, so.
I guess maybe he was the last one.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's like, you know, if you think in 2014 that was 12 Years a Slave, but I mean, it's a bit hand-fisted, isn't it? That, like, to say.
Well, that's why I think that Moonlight would have is slightly more original. My problem with 12 Years a Slave was that it didn't really bring anything new to the table. The main message that I took away from it was slavery's bad, and I think that we covered that quite a lot.
Yes, you're quite right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think, and then there's nothing wrong with creating an emotional story like that, but I think there should be more credit be given to something like Moonlight, which is, you know, it's a whole different issue that I don't think anyone's really covered in this kind of form before. It's a completely new issue, taken in a really new way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not going to be overly upset, obviously, if La La Land does win. I think it's a good. I haven't seen it, obviously. I have to keep saying.
No. I think it would be fair enough, and it would be fair enough on Damien Chazelle. He's obviously put a lot of work into it, as of the characters. Yeah. Yep. I think that's fair enough.
Effort and dedication to make that kind of film. It's just, I don't know. I would personally appreciate them maybe thinking a little bit outside the box. Not hugely, but because it's in their nominations. But
yeah,
you know, just appreciating something that's a bit less mainstream, being a bit less, you know, standard. Because La La Land is inherently inspired by like old musicals, which is a cool idea, but it's just like, you know, you should always reward innovation rather than derivation. I think that's the word, right?
I think that sounds right. Yeah. Yes. Poetically put. Yes. Is there?
So do you have anything else to add on?
Well, I was just going to ask you: is there anything that you think's missed out at all? Anything that you think maybe should have been given a mention that hasn't? I was trying to think of that. Yeah.
It's difficult. Loving was good, but it's very similar to Fences, so I can see why it didn't necessarily. You know, it's always annoying when timing's a bit off and something comes out that's very similar. The difference is that Fences had Denzel Washington in, whereas Loving had very few famous people in, so
Yeah,
That makes me a little
I think a big name can
upset,
often give more
but then
attention.
again, I haven't seen Fences, so again, I don't know. It could be 10 times better than Loving, but I just know I really enjoyed Loving. But yeah, apart from that, I don't think everything's pretty standard. Nothing else I don't think's missing. What about you?
Yeah, I was trying to think of myself, but I couldn't really think of anything, especially that
Yeah,
I hadn't been given a mention
cover
that
the
could have been.
bases.
Yeah,
Cover all the bases. Well, thank you very much. I'll try and get this edited and sent out, or Albert will, and
I'm sure
tonight
we'll
before
sort it
tonight.
out. Yeah,
So that
yeah,
all you avid movie watchers can see this and then watch the Oscars, or alternatively, you can watch the Oscars, see us get proved wrong, and then laugh at us by watching this afterwards. So,
yep.
really, watch Arrival or something, get Best Picture. I mean, I'd be happy to have that get Best Picture as well. That's
Yeah,
apparently a cracking.
yeah. It would surprise me, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well,
We'll find out
thank you
tonight.
very much for listening. Thank you very much for joining me, Albert.
No problem.
See you next time.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe.
I